everyone. So today we're going to talk about dividing square roots. So it's kind of similar to when we were dividing imaginary numbers when you would multiply by the conjugate, but we're not going to have addition and subtraction on the bottom. So instead you're going to multiply the top and bottom by whatever is in your square root on the bottom, because we don't want to leave any radicals in the bottom. So for 2 over the square root of 3, we're going to multiply by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3. So 2 times the square root of 3 just gives us 2 root 3. And then the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 gives us the square root of 9. So then when we simplify it, we get 2 times the square root of 3 over the square root of 9, which is 3. Now we have no radicals in the bottom, so that is our final answer. So now 4 times square root of 3 over 6 times the square root of 5. So you don't need to multiply by the number in front, just by the radical. So we're just going to multiply the top and bottom by the square root of 5. So 4 times 1 is 4. Square root of 3 times square root of 5 is the square root of 15. 6 times 1, then the square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is the square root of 25. And your last step is always to simplify. So we have square root of 15 can't be simplified, over 6 times the square root of 25 is 5. So we get 4 times the square root of 15 over 30. But this can be simplified because 2 goes into 4 and 30. So we get 2 root 15 over 15. Now we have the square root of 20 over the square root of 28. So now you could multiply by the square root of 28, but that is a very big number. So I'm going to simplify it first. So the square root of 20 is the same thing as 4 times 5. Square root of 28 is the same thing as 4 times 7. So you bring out the square root of 4, which is 2. So 2 times the square root of 5 over 2 times the square root of 7. And now we will multiply by the radical on the bottom. So you multiply by the square root of 7 over the square root of 7. So 2 times square root of 5 times square root of 7 is 2 times the square root of 35 over 2 times the square root of 49. So now 35 cannot be simplified over 2 times 7. 2 root 35 over 14. 2 goes into both of them, so that's 1. This is 7. So we get the square root of 35 over 7. Lastly, we can simplify the square root of 12 and square root of 18 before we start. Square root of 12 is 4 times 3. Square root of 18 is 9 times 2. So we bring out the square root of 4, so we have 2 times 2. Gives us 4 root 3. Take out the square root of 9, which is 3, so we have 3 times 3 is 9 times the square root of 2. And then we're going to multiply by the square root on the bottom. So the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. So 4 times the square root of 3 times the square root of 2 is 4 root 6. 9 times the square root of 4. So we got 4 root 6 over 9 times 2, 4 root 6 over 18, and 2 goes into both of them, so that's a 2 and that's a 9. We get 2 root 6 over 9. So in all of these, you're only multiplying by the radical that's on the bottom, and if you can simplify it first, you do, and then simplify at the end. And let us know if you have any questions.